undefeated all-winner for this.
It's the biggest race we have all year long.
The icons of this sport have all starred on its biggest stage.
It's the great American race. Trust me.
I won the Daytona 500. I won the Daytona 500.
Pull them belts tight one last time, boys. Light the fire.
Big push coming now for Harvick. Oh, and around goes a couple cars. Preece upside down. He's barrel rolling through the grass.
You got plenty of money. Don't need that to keep racing. Is it worth the risk to keep on going?
Sure, to win.
Oh, yeah, welcome to the Bump and Run podcast. I'm your host, Michael D. White, joined by my two best friends, Matt the Statman Reilly and Daytona Ron. This week, you guys get the applause and the horns because I hope you guys had a great weekend. Hope you guys had yourselves a Joey Logano type of weekend. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, tell all your friends, do all that stuff. Give us some comments in the YouTube. Help us get the algorithm. Seeing some new commenters.
I'm sorry, I'm going to cut you off right there. There's one person that can't comment.
Who's that?
That is Kimmy Schrey. Not allowed to comment this week.
No, sorry, Kimmy. We love you, but you want to what? Don't even show up to Pocono either. I'm sorry. You better show up to Pocono. Your husband owes me money for the ticket. He still has paid for the grandstand tickets. So, Kimmy, give me that money. No, I kid. But seriously, though, I'm broke. I need that money. Anyways, should we? Joey Logano won. What a fucking. Yeah. I think.
The most ridiculous way to end a race where, like, it was all great.
Yeah.
Everything, in my opinion, was almost going to end up being a B plus, almost an A- race at the end.
Yeah.
And then it just all went to hell. And, man, it not only ruined the race. Today's Tuesday. I am still not as, but almost as fucking mad and irritated still today. So it's like, it didn't just ruin the race. It ruined the next couple days in my world.
It basically ruined the week until we get to Sunday and the Chicago street course. And hopefully that redeems NASCAR. It's going to be one of those Tuesday shows, boys. But first, we got some NASCAR news to talk about. A lot of NASCAR news to talk about, actually. So maybe it won't be one of those Tuesdays. Maybe we'll calm down by the time we get to the race weekend. But first, big piece. We talked about it last week. We talked about it the week before. Worst kept secret in NASCAR, but Chase Briscoe officially joining Joe Gibbs Racing in 2025. Bass Pro Shops sticking with the 19 car. So obviously they like him there. And what do you guys think about just the official word, Chase Briscoe? How you feeling about it?
We'll see. We'll see. I think we all know that he's pretty talented. So now he's going to get the opportunity to show the world. And hey, he said himself, if he doesn't perform in this equipment, he doesn't belong in the Cup Series. So He knows that it's time to shine. So he's had maybe, I don't know if an excuse is the right word, but there's been circumstances outside of his control over the past couple years in the equipment that he's been driving. So listen, he's about to hop into a championship caliber car. So no more excuses next year. I'm excited to see what he can do.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited too. Just for those points you made, like Chase Briscoe in the Xfinity Series, big muscles, gets to the Cup Series, like little guy muscles. He won twice, I think. I know Phoenix for sure. I feel like he has another win under his belt too that I'm forgetting though.
Did he take that road course from Denny, or did he not win that?
No, the Indy road course he should have, but he got bumped out of the way, and there was a whole bunch of, or he cut the track. That was, I think, the inaugural.
Oh, on the right where he cut the track. Okay, yeah.
But I'm excited to see what he could do with a good team, and it's a multi-year deal too. So he has at least a year and a half or so to prove himself in that car before he gets the old boot. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. That's down the road. And then speaking of getting the boot, I don't know if he really got the boot, but Andy Petrie retired from overseeing competition at Richard Childress Racing. Keith Roden named interim Competition director.
It's a Tuesday show, and it's a holiday week, so just bear with us.
It is a holiday week.
Pull those belts down tight and just ride this storm with us tonight.
I was working double jobs today and yesterday too, filling in at the radio station before run. So I've been running around all day, a little exhausted. But yeah, it looks like Andy Petrie out. We don't know if some of Kyle Busch's comments and issues had something to do with it. But I tell you what, Kyle Busch running a lot better this week before he got caught up in one of those overtime wrecks. What do you guys think about Andy Petrie getting the, not even the walking papers, just retiring, I guess?
Well, this is the old and like, I want to say it's like the scapegoat, whether it's deserved to get fired, whether he retired, whether he's stepping down on his own. At the end of a season, somebody has to get fired. And a lot of times in football terms, the coach necessarily did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
But the GM is going to fire his buddy who's up there and this and that, so someone has to get the boot. Most of the time, it's the head coach. And with this scenario, with everything going on and surrounding it, this just feels like the wording is the way that they wanted it to go publicly. But I think this was more of a, hey, here, we appreciate what you've done and everything, but
yeah.
Look at what's going on. Yes, look at what is going on. Like, nothing is good around here. Someone has to be the one, and I think he ended up being the one.
Can I tell you, so I'm not a big sports fan besides NASCAR, but every time I hear, like, just football fans in general calling for the coach's head, I always think, like, what about his family? That guy's got a family to support, and everyone's like, fire him tomorrow.
I didn't give a shit about Charlie Weiss's family. That guy needed to leave the land.
But yeah, I'm sure if Andy wanted a job in NASCAR, he could have found it. So maybe the retirement is legit, and hopefully RCR sees some improvement from here on out too. And then let's see, Riley Herbst says he has offers in all three series. He's looking at the
ARCA series, the K&N series, and the Truck series.
Unfortunately, no. He's like the top prospect for that 2311 third charter that they're looking to buy. Obviously, it's a money deal. He's got Xfinity offers and truck offers. I think Riley Herbst should just stay put where he is. What do you got?
Maybe another Harrison Burton situation. Look what's happening to Harrison Burton a couple of years later.
Yeah, just another monster car.
I actually think Riley Herbst is better than Harrison Burton. If I'm being honest,
I mean, he might be.
Probably is.
Although Riley Herbst was in the race this week, he got in an accident, but he only finished 201 laps. So no one else finished on that lap that day too. So I don't know.
I think if he's smart, just like we said in the past, he's going to take the best deal no matter what, because that's just what he's going to do.
Yeah.
But the smart thing to do is to just wait a little bit. Look what I think the tides are turning now. I think the whole premise of what happened in the last 10, 15 years of like young, get them in, get them out, hurry up, move them up as fast and as quick as you can. I think that's kind of running out because those seats have been filled by those drivers already. So it's like, hold on. It doesn't hurt you to stay down in Xfinity, build your skill, build your craft a little bit down there, and, wait for the guys that went up too quick. Let them fizzle out.
Yeah.
And then when you're ready, hop in there and hold on to the ride. Instead of taking it too early, being one to fizzle out, maybe get a little bit more seat time. Maybe go down there, race up front a little bit more. I think that's a problem with a lot of these drivers too. You're constantly running in the 20s. You don't know what it's like up there running up front. So, hey, when you're in Xfinity, you're getting better. You should go from 15s to 10s to now battling up front every week. And when you do that, the pressure, you're building all of those skill sets. And I just think with the rides and the seats getting filled already, hang on to yourself, go down there, learn. And not just Reilly. I think would be the move if I'm any of that caliber on his, where they could do something. They probably have offers, but hey, hone that in, stay there for another year or two, and then don't lose the ride that you get offered at that opportunity. That's probably what I would do if I was in this scenario.
Yeah, I agree. Whatchamacallit, it's an interesting conversation. Denny Hamlin brought it up on his podcast last week. And then Dale Jr. Kind of echoed his statements on his, where they were talking about, like, is it better to run a full season in a backmarker team and Cup, or pull your money together for a handful of races and really, like, show what you could do, you know? And they all agreed, like, pull your money together for a few races in a good car, show what you can, and hopefully it works out for you. You know, we've seen it in the past with a lot of drivers. And
I mean, dude, Josh Berry got thrown at Junior Motorsports a couple races, did good, and then got thrown into a full-time spot there. So it's just get the opportunity and show what you can do, and then go from there.
We're seeing it with Carson Quapple in that junior part-time ride too. I'm sure he'll have a full-time Xfinity ride soon after. I think he's finished top 10 or top 5 in all of his races except for one that he's raced in so far. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like, man, Riley Herbst has been one of those guys who's been in Xfinity for a while now, and he's finally starting to, like, make a name for himself that isn't negative, you know? And
that's what I mean. Build that fan base, get something behind you, you know? I mean, it's sad. We all know that he's bringing good sponsorship dollars, but you don't want that to be the first thing people think of. So I think that's still in the forefront of people's minds, and it's up to him to change that. And he has an opportunity to do that by running up front and winning races.
And then speaking of opportunities and maybe making poor ones, Hailie Deegan is going to be out this weekend in her full-time Xfinity ride, being replaced by Joey Logano for the Chicago Street Course. A lot of people criticize that move for Hailie Deegan going to that car to begin with because it wasn't the best equipment. What do you guys think about that? Do you think that's a sign for the rest of her season, or do you think it's just like we need to perform on the street course type deal? They're saying that they want his feedback. They want a veteran feedback for that car and team. So
it's not a good sign. I mean, it doesn't show that they have a vote of confidence for Hailie at this point. And listen, we're all Hailie Deegan fans here, but she hasn't done much to earn that vote of confidence. So at this point, you know, hey, let's get Joey in the car. Let's have him shake it down and get feedback. And then there's no excuses. And, you know, yeah, she brings the fans, she brings some sponsorship money, but at the end of the day, you want to be competitive, and she hasn't been. And it's unfortunate because she could do some really good things for our sport, and we need her to be competitive, and she just hasn't been. So it's, you know, is it the equipment? Is it her? I guess we're going to find out with what Joey does.
Well, yeah, it's this new team that I guess they're just really figuring it out step by step through the way. Like Whitey said, like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? You're going out to a team that's just kind of trying to figure it out and get their shit together, and you don't even have your shit together. But I also read too, like, it was a no-brainer because she's dead last in points. The points wouldn't matter at this point as far as moving anywhere or doing anything. So even though she's like not going to run the race and not be qualified, it didn't matter. You know what I mean? Like where they were in the standings, where they were going to go, how many races are left in the season.
It's like she might not. She might as well not even run full time at this point.
Right. It's more useful to the team to have Joey run it than it is for her to run it right now. So I kind of like the move. I think it's maybe a little bit mature on Hailie's part to say, okay, let me step aside. Let's let someone in there and let's get some feedback. Well, we need help. Don't be stubborn about it. You know, if you're struggling and you're not where you want to be and this team is trying to get there with you, you can't be stubborn in those situations and get mad when a person like Joey Logano, champion of the sport, wants to come in and help you by driving that vehicle. So in a way, I think this is a good thing maybe for both of them. If you look at the silver lining where, hey, she's mature enough, the team is mature enough to be like, hey, I didn't see anything come out where she handled it negatively. So, yeah.
Hopefully he can help shake that car down, and maybe they can improve it a little bit too. Let's see. Speaking of part-time drivers in the Xfinity series, I heard this rumor a couple of weeks ago. I didn't think it was true, and sure as shit, it was. If you remember, Eric Almirola is running part-time for Joe Gibbs Racing in the Xfinity series. He was supposed to race the race at Charlotte, and last minute they said, "Oh, we're going to put Ty Gibbs in the car That started the rumor mill and the speculation. What happened to Eric Almirola? A lot of people think he quietly got fired. Joe Gibbs Racing had to make the statement, though, that he has not been fired, but he was suspended from the team for a couple of weeks. He will return, I think, I want to say at the Indy at Indy, but it might be this weekend. I can't remember. I apologize for that. But apparently he was suspended because he got into an altercation with Bubba Wallace, a physical altercation. Joe Gibbs Racing decided that he was the aggressor in the situation. And digging further on Twitter, if you guys want to dig yourself, you can find all sorts of history between the two. I guess they got into a shoving match at the Coke 600 last year during a rain delay. And then even before Bubba took the wheel of the 43 when Eric Almirola was hurt in 2017, I think. Bubba said he texted him not the nicest thing. So a little bit of a personal history between those two. Not exactly sure on any of the details. Joe Gibbs Racing didn't give us any details. What do you guys think about that?
What an odd rivalry, if you want to call it that. Like, what an odd two human beings to just go at it behind the scenes with each other. Like, I get it, the dots are there to connect and everything, but like,
it's just,
I don't know, like Eric Almirola has been around forever and he's never really seemed like a kind of guy who would insert himself. Like, I know he's a man of faith and everything, so he never really seemed like a guy that would insert himself into shit like that. Now Bubba, on the other hand, we've seen
he does, and that's the thing. Apparently
Bubba doesn't shy away from the physicality if he needs to, which, listen, I respect the shit out of, but apparently, just an odd story.
Apparently, the Coke 600 stuff from last year stemmed from, I guess Bubba was racing real hard and then flipped him off as he passed him. We all know Bubba uses that bird a lot on track too, so I don't know, maybe, like you said, Eric Almirola, he gets us. Maybe he took extra offense to would it be explicit hand gesture? I don't know. Just a weird.
I use the bird all the time on 81, so I can't blame it in the heat of competition.
But yeah, I don't know what the deal with that one is. I don't know. I guess we'll see if anything else happens. Eric, you got anything to say about that or no?
I mean, I agree with what Matt was saying. Like, there's no record of Eric getting, into any kind of mischief like that, or
no.
And from the videos I saw, it was Eric that was going up, that was like getting, mad and like voicing his frustration. And it looked like Bubba just wasn't giving him the time of day. Like, he just was blowing him off. And that, to me, as a veteran in the sport, would irritate me as well.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I bet you, like, Bubba just was trying to just not get into an altercation, blowing it off. But in turn, that made the situation even worse.
Like
it didn't matter. Like, escalated it in a way. But I'll tell you what, Bubba Wallace seemed in that video to be backing down from Eric Almirola. Like,
right?
So it almost looked like he was in the wrong. You know what I mean? And it's like, hey, Bubba, you go after a tiny little Larson when you're mad at him.
Yeah.
But when there's a 6'3" Eric Almirola coming down your face, tapping your shoulder and walking you down, what do you do then, buddy? You know,
did you ever see Eric Almirola's chin? That's a strong
I'd like to
jaw.
figure out the details. It'd be interesting to see what, going way back, what it all is. We never will.
Yeah.
Don't say never. That seems like one of those stories that'll come out on the Dale Jr. download in like 6 years from now.
Yeah,
True,
like once all parties are separated from organizations type deal, Apparently this happened months ago too, and someone said Joe Gibbs Racing, when they don't want something to get out, as long as Christopher Bell doesn't know about it, it doesn't get out of the shop too. So we may never know the details on that. Another piece of another piece of news I thought was super interesting. We talked about it after the Coke 600. Joseph Newgarden expressed interest in wanting to run the double at some point. He doesn't know if it'll ever actually happen to him, but he was in Nashville this weekend for the race. They asked him again, is he interested in driving NASCAR? And he doubled down. He said he would love to drive a cup car once, at least one time. He even mentioned Bristol, how he used to go to Bristol as a kid and watch the races there, and said he would love to run a cup car at Bristol. He said he always wanted to drive at Bristol. So who knows, maybe we'll have a two-time Indy 500 champion race in NASCAR one day. What do you guys think about Joseph Newgarden possibly running the double or NASCAR race in general.
I don't know who it was. I saw someone tweet that he's like the best on ovals, like something when it comes to ovals, he knows how to run them, how to race them. So, that is always a huge, huge help when it comes to going to NASCAR, versus the NASCAR going to a road course arena, So coming from, there to running an oval, I can see him doing fairly well.
Yeah, I mean, he I don't want to say offices with, but like offices with, the Penske boys.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he is a Penske boy. So like the IndyCar and NASCAR are under one roof. And so I'm always seeing videos with him hanging out with Blaney and Logano at the shop. So I'm sure he's getting in simulator time and stuff like that.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. He's probably having a good old time.
I'm pretty sure that he's big into iRacing. I think I remember back during the pandemic, Newgarden jumping on a lot. So, I mean, yeah. So why not? Like, yeah, bring him on. Like, it's a big name from another sport. Like you said, Whitey, a 2-time Indy Cup champion, or not Indy Cup, but Indy 500 champion. So, yeah, that'd be cool to see.
Yeah, and then just a couple more quick ones. Hendrick Motorsports ends their sponsorship with Hooters. They ended it because Hooters financially can't pay them. So, and looking bad for Hooters. I saw an article the other day too where I think they're closing a whole bunch of locations and stuff too. So probably just bad business going on over there. And then
I think they're getting ready to fold shop.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's like Red Lobster. We're losing restaurants left and right, boy.
We almost put them out of business 10 years ago when they had half off mimosas at the 500.
Ooh, it's dangerous during a rain delay too,
Oh, that was at 7 a.m.
Oh, all right. Well, you got to bite the hair of the dog that bit you, something like that, right?
I like it.
Good.
What you got? Let's see. Lego is partnering with NASCAR for Speed Champions Next Gen Chevy Camaro set. This one's different from the Technics set that they released a couple years ago. This is
does this one actually look like the NASCAR?
It looks way closer than the other ones did. This is a more blocky one. I don't know if I could screen share.
One looks like a Car of Tomorrow car.
Yeah, no, this one's pretty cool here. Let's see, jski.com. It was on there. Great audio feed right now.
So the other one wasn't a Lego then that I was thinking of.
So that one was like Lego Technics, which I never really liked. They're more technical sets, but I feel like they don't look very good. This one looks a little bit better if you could see it in the webcam. It's an actual like Lego set where it's the bricks and whatnot. So
okay, yeah, it's closer with the panels. The fender and the hood looks a little bit better.
Yeah, I don't like the color scheme on that particular one, but I would definitely buy a set to build it. I haven't built Legos in a while, but I do find them fun. I didn't buy that last set though because it looked like dog shit, to be honest with you.
I see it all the time in Target, and I'm always tempted.
Yeah,
I'm always so tempted. But I'm like, it doesn't look like a.
It doesn't look. Yeah, if it looked better, I think I'd already have it.
I even saw the one day I spotted it on the Vavs brothers television stand. I'm like, yeah, even in person, it doesn't. It looks okay, but it doesn't look worth the $40 or whatever it is,
Right.
Let's see. And then two last pieces of news. Matt, I know you're a little disappointed in this one, but Josh Berry says he's nearing a deal to drive for the Wood Brothers Racing in 2025. So looks like he'll stay in Cup. I think you said that Rodney Childers might not be part of that deal too.
I'm not disappointed in it. I'm happy that Josh is staying in Cup. I've got a guy to root for. It's just that we've seen what that equipment has been doing.
Yeah.
Now, again, it's like what we were just talking about with Haley Deegan. Is it the person behind the wheel or is it the wheel itself? We don't know, but we're gonna find out next year. The thing that stinks is that there's rumors, and I think Bob Pockris tweeted about it, and maybe Jordan Bianchi. Don't quote me on that. Or at least sounded like they were unsure that Rodney wasn't going to be joining Josh, which sucks because if anyone can, if a duo can shake down a car, I think it's just as important that you have a crew chief that can do it too. So if Josh doesn't have Rodney, who does he? It's really important the crew chief that he selects if he even has an option. And I mean, it'll be interesting. It's going to be an adjustment, right, for me that I'm going to be rooting for a guy that's going to be, hopefully he's taking a car that's running 25th and maybe make it an 18th, 17th, 16th place car. And I'll just be rooting for top 15s for a little while until he can, hopefully, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he gets in there and he starts ripping off top 15s right off the bat and we can start building up to a top 10, top 5 run. So we'll see. I'm excited that Josh is in the Cup Series. It's going to be, going to have to get myself some 21 gear now. And, I wonder if it's going to be the same old, Wood Brothers paint scheme that's been on there. If Menards is going to be there, what kind of sponsorship is coming with Josh? So we'll see what happens there. But I'm excited.
I wanted to spin it for you too. Just think, man, they're at 99 wins. Legendary Wood Brothers 21. That gold number, right? I know Ryan Blaney won that car a couple of years ago when he was in it. It hasn't done shit since. But you have to look at the guys who were behind the wheel. Paul Menard, Harrison, Matt Benedetto, which he ran pretty decently in it, and then Harrison Burton just like a rock, Team Penske prepared, built in their shop, sharing the data. He'll be in the garage and the team meetings with 2 champions and a Daytona 500 champion. I think it's going to be a little bit smoother than I think so. Than we might expect.
I'm cautiously optimistic. I honestly think it's Harrison Burton. I mean,
I think so too.
When that announcement was made, like what kind of Harrison Burton? We didn't think Harrison Burton was ready then, and he's done nothing but prove us right. So I'm actually optimistic about it. I really wish Rodney was coming over with him, but
yeah. And well, we'll see what happens with that. Hopefully we get some more news on that soon. And then
it sounds like it's going to be tomorrow. The official announcement's going to be tomorrow, so I'm assuming we'll find out a lot more. I don't know if they'll mention sponsorship yet, but we'll probably at least find out crew chief or they'll at least tip their hand on what they're going to do there.
Yeah, usually that's like all Ford sponsorships too, like Motorcraft and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to finding out. Eric, you have any thoughts on that or no?
No, I like it. I think it fits. I think it's about time we get somebody in that car that I think could wheel it to the front and like you said, get it back to victory lane. And it's a shame if he doesn't get Rodney, because I think that is a critical part. I think Stewart-Haas wants to keep him there for whoever's going to be in that one ride that they have. I don't blame them at all for holding on to him.
Yeah.
But I think it'll work out. I mean, look at the 2 made it to victory lane. All 3 Penske's are in the fucking playoffs right now. I don't know how. So maybe a little bit of that Penske bullshit luck will come with you there, Matt.
Yeah, for real. I'm predicting win 100 at Richmond some point next year.
At Pocono, man, that car won at Pocono before. Why not do it again?
Yeah, he did. Ryan Blaney. Man, I want that diecast so bad. It's so fucking expensive. And then let's see, the last piece of news, kind of expected this one. Carson Hocevar, speaking of that 21 car, fined $50,000 and docked 25 driver points for turning the 21 under caution this past Sunday during the race. What do you guys think about the points and monetary fine for Carson Hocevar? I think it's pretty justified for what he did.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I think it's justified as well. I mean, you have to do it. He's in a battle. Rookie points up there, running well. One of those dumb things that we've seen him do in the past in the trucks, he's got to clean it up. So definitely justified.
Yeah, I say good on NASCAR too for trying to nip this in the bud. Because we saw that a lot in trucks. He was pulling this type of stuff. Hopefully,
I'm sure the 21 did something worthy of him doing that.
Yeah.
I don't know what he did, but we just talked about him in that ride and what's going on with him. So, I mean, I think as of right now, Hocevar is running better than the 21. The 21 probably did something dumb, but you can't do it under caution.
No, not at all. When it's under caution, like we've seen the precedent that they'll find you every time.
Like with Bowman, you just can't any of that stuff when like there could possibly be crew members, cameramen, something around. you don't mess around in those type of scenarios.
All right, that's all I have for NASCAR news. And we have a NASCAR race weekend to talk about. It was a triple header weekend, trucks, Xfinity, and Cup. Christian Eckes led every single lap. Just a dominant performance in Nashville for the Truck Series. Then on Saturday, John Neimechek, he won. Did you guys catch any of the Xfinity race on Saturday? I didn't catch it at all.
I watched it, but I don't remember. Like I barely. Yeah, it's like I know I watched it, but I don't think I retained any of it.
It was a John Neimechek win. And then Cup Series, we saw Joey Logano lead once for 9 laps. We saw 15 cautions for 79 laps, 20 lead changes among 9 different drivers. The race lasted 4 hours, 3 minutes, and 54 seconds, not including the rain delay. Your top 5, Joey Logano, Zane Smith, Tyler Reddick, Ryan Preece, and Chris Buescher. But I'm going to go on record right now and say Denny Hamlin won that race. He won the race before the overtimes. But fellas, let's jump into the race grades. We'll see what we all thought of it. Let's start with Matt this week for the race grades.
Gave it a C, and I think that's kind of being graceful, to be honest with you. Like you said at the top of the show, I was trending towards a B minus, B, probably about a B. I enjoyed what I saw. I mean, before the rain delay, it was okay, but it was also, the race was still getting going. It's the first half of the race. Any first half of the race, you got to give that a little bit of grace because the storylines are building, the strategies are building. So it was fine. And then rain came, rain left. They dried the track really quick, which was awesome. Yeah. And then once they got back racing, I loved what I saw. The track got green again, and there was just some great battles, and then the end happened, and it's hard for me to, I try not to take one little section of the race and let that, affect my whole race grade, because it's a grade on the entirety of the race, but it did this time. And we had Denny chasing down Ross at the end and got him and passed him and was taking off, but there were moments where Ross was kind of getting closer
up,
biting into that. Cindric and who was it? Noah Gregson, maybe, I think, got into it, and a bunch of bozos doing bozo things. And then the rest was history. As far as literally history, we had the most overtimes in NASCAR history. And it was just like one of those deals where, you hear NASCAR personalities, whether it's on Sirius XM or what on Twitter, whatever, saying, oh, it's entertainment. That was entertainment. It wasn't. Like, that wasn't competition. That's not what I wanted to see. And it really affected the way I took that race. I actually came out of it really negative. I know you guys share similar sentiments about it. And I don't know, like, that's not what I'm coming to a race to see. I'm not coming to a race to see a bunch of wrecks. Dude, if we got the Daytona 500 or Talladega, like super speedways that are known for wreck fest, if we didn't have one goddamn wreck, I'd be thrilled with it. Like, I don't care to see that shit, because that's not what it's all about. Like, it's about the competition, the strategy, and who's best that day. And we were on a stretch. We've been pointing it out the last couple of weeks that the best car won. Well, the top 10 best cars didn't win this race, and it just came down to a crapshoot at the end, and just it bums me out. But we have Chicago coming up, then we have our home track Pocono, and a couple other good races to finish out the season. I just hope something shitty like that doesn't happen again to ruin a decent race.
We, like you said, we've been talking about the last couple of weeks, the best car won. Literally the slowest car won this race. Chris Gabehart, Denny Hamlin's crew chief, tweeted that, where it's like, how did he save so much fuel? He was slow. That's it. Like,
on the restart with 12 to go, he dropped 10 spots. Logano did. Yeah. He had no business winning that race whatsoever. On the first restart in overtime, I think he was 24th. I think someone sent that stat in.
Where was it, Eric?
Earlier, so apologize.
It's in our text.
It's in our. Yeah, I think it's on Twitter or something. But while Whitey's looking for that stat, at some overtime, Logano was
When the yellow came out with 2 to go for the first time, Joey Logano was sitting in 14th. Zane Smith was sitting in 24th. Ryan Preece in 25th, and Ryan Blaney was 32nd and a lap down. They finished 1st, 2nd, 4th, and 6th.
There you go. That should never happen. Like we saw a bunch of guys finish in the top 10 that didn't deserve it. Probably the only guy who did deserve it finishing in the top 10 was Reddick, maybe. I mean, off the top of my head, I'd have to go back and look at who finished in the top 10.
Not only that, Chris Buescher in the top 5, I think he deserved it too. He had a pretty decent day. Not only that, though, that top 5 in order ended up, Denny Hamlin finished 12th because he had a pit for gas. The one got wrecked and finished 33rd. He was running 2nd. Let's see. Kyle Larson finished P8 after running out of gas.
Kyle Larson deserved to be up there. Buescher deserves to be up there too. But these
guys are running top 5 when that caution came out. Kyle Busch finished 27th, did not finish, and the 54 Ty Gibbs, he finished, was it 23rd? You know,
I'm looking at it now. Like first place Joey Logano, his average running position was 15th. Third place, Bubba Wallace. His average running position was 14th. Same with Ryan Blaney. He finished 6th. His average running position was 14th. It's like what are we doing? Like I don't know. Fourth place, Ryan Preece. His average running position was 24th. It's insane.
Yeah, it was an interesting one for sure. Do you have anything else to add to that, Matt? Or
it's just
Eric. I see Eric.
How that finished in.
I see Eric itching to get into it.
I know. I don't know if you guys want to talk about, the idea of how we need to finish races going forward, but that might be a different topic for a different conversation. I know Eric is itching. Yeah. And if you're a fan of this show for a long time, you might be hoping for an epic Eric rant. You might get one. I don't know. I don't want to tee you up and set the bar too high, but Eric, have at it, man.
Matt, I agree with everything that you're saying. I gave that race, I still gave it a B because I liked what I saw out of Nashville. Yeah. I liked the side-by-side racing it produced. And when you're watching that side-by-side racing, it lasted lap after lap after lap. And that is when, hey, you got to wait for somebody to screw up. A driver has to hit his mark. He has to drive into too far to the turn. He has to be mirror driving. Like you're waiting for someone to mess up. And that's exciting side by side when they're going around there washing each other up and who's going to screw up. So I do think there were some good things that came out of this race and stuff that I saw during the race as far as like battles and side by side and the restarts were exciting too. So yeah, but when you get to the end, all of that I just said that I enjoyed, that I saw, it's almost all for what? You know what I mean?
Gets tarnished.
It takes everything away from it. Like if it just ended with the 11 running down the 1 and finishing that off, voila,
would have been perfect.
Great race. Going to the next weekend. Would
have gave it a B+ and go, man, the fastest car won today. Terrible for Christopher Bell getting wrecked. He had a great car too, but man, Denny would have got him probably in the end.
And it's, too, I'm a race fan that I want to see the best car win. I kind of don't think they need to change a rule because it doesn't happen as often. It happened this time. It's fresh. We could bitch about it, but I don't think they need to change the rule necessarily. And I'll get into that a little bit later on too, in my checkers and wreckers. But the entertainment aspect that I keep hearing, and I heard Moody callers today, and they were numerous times, and we talk about on here, we're not far off from WWE wrestling. And some of the Moody callers even said it. It's like, this person has this role, and this is this role, and it does this. It's all, but I'm sitting there listening to these people and listening to these shows even that are on NASCAR talking about the entertainment aspect of it and the ending of that. Oh my gosh, I was out of my seat. I didn't know what was going to happen. Those restarts were wild and who's going to run out of gas and who's going to crash because of it. And talking about entertaining, that was exciting. To you maybe, who just wants to scroll your phone and see mayhem and chaos and be entertained, go watch entertainment. Go watch movies. Watch the Fast and the Furious if that's what you want, is to just be entertained. This is a sport. There is competition. There's people that are working on these cars that are trying to beat the guys next to them, and it means a lot to them to go out there. And to me as a fan, I appreciate that. I look at it as a fan of competition, and I want the best car to win at the end, and it just seems like we're far away from that. And I'm sorry, as a fan, that I don't get excited for shit at the end of a race like that. I don't. I would have rathered 1,000% after the first one. You could do one, and then here, do something crazy. And if it's the leaders up front, all means, you're going for a win, great. Big wreck happens, that next one, it's on them. The drivers to know, okay, we had one opportunity, let's just pump the fucking brakes here a little bit, you know?
And if the race is run the right way, we get that entertainment, but it's not manufactured entertainment. It's not gimmicky entertainment. It's natural entertainment. Just like when you have a boat race with the Chiefs versus the Bills, and it's a shootout, and it's just back and forth battle of who's going to come out on top. You know, that's entertainment. It's not like it's not, you know, this wreck fest and everything. And oh my God, it was so cool to see that car flip. And oh, we got so many different
the side-by-side battles that I'm talking about. There's the entertainment that entertains a racing fan. I'm a fan of the racing on track. I want to see those battles happening lap after lap after lap. That is the entertainment. The drivers in that car on racetrack, there's the product. That's the entertainment. You have to find that. But I think it's getting swirled in the media as that's not the entertaining part. That's just, they're calling it racing. They want more than just racing. They want the over-the-top stuff. And to me, you're going far beyond the competition of NASCAR at that point.
And here's the thing, too. Like, Joey Logano won through strategy, you know, for the most part, you know, like, and that is the essence of competition. You know, if you don't have a winning car, we'll see how you could win in another way. The problem is we saw so many wrecks on restarts, so many accidents that just kept it going and going, where now you've stretched it out so long where it's like, now you're not in the normal time frame of the competition. You know, you didn't get up front through pit strategy to compensate for your car. Is this making sense? Do I say?
Yeah, it went 398 or something like that laps or something, right?
So now,
so now your strategy didn't work for the allotted time frame and mileage.
Yeah,
you needed this extra bullshit in order for your strategy, being slow, to work out to your advantage. So it's like at a certain point, like I agree, like let them rack them up and run, but at what cost? At what point? You know what I mean? Like,
now you're just tearing up cars to the finish.
Right, exactly. What if they did go more than 5?
Yeah.
What if 6 cars instead of 1 or 2 all ran out of fuel at the same time and wrecked 10, 12 cars at the end there? Okay, rack them up again. Now you're only restarting with 10, 12 cars.
It's like,
well, some people are going to gamble like they always do. I've been yelling at people like Timmy Hill and Reed Sorensen and all these fucking people my entire life for staying out on a dumb fucking strategy call, not taking tires at the end of a race when my driver leads for 3/4 of the fucking race. That shit is bullshit. And like, that is how the race ended yesterday, by someone doing something dumb and getting away with it like that. Now, why I think they don't need to change a rule, just frustrated when it happens,
pisses
it's
you
like,
off.
what are you fucking doing? Yeah, it just irritates you.
It's like not Joey Logano. It's like Ricky Stenhouse Jr. the other week. He kept staying out. But
all the time.
At the same time,
does it too.
He does too.
99 team
Michael
does it.
McDowell does it in the 34. Corey LaJoie does it all the time. Like, it's so fucking frustrating because then you just watch these guys clog up the restart, fall to the back of the pack anyways, and then you finish 15th in the stage or you finish 15th in the race.
You think all those spotters up there are looking like, buddy, like what you're
what
really
are you
not
doing?
You're not pitting right now? What are you doing? You know what I mean? If I was a spotter, I'd be beating the shit out of those guys on top of the freaking grandstand.
And
be like, what are you doing? Tell your driver to pit. You really think you're going to win? When has this ever worked out? 0 times.
Except unless you're Joey fucking Logano, because somehow it always works out for him.
I think that Penske luck has to come with it at some point.
Yeah, that 21 car is going to definitely win with Josh Berry in it. I understand the frustration. I do get frustrated at that entertainment argument too. We brought it up a couple of weeks ago. There's this Emp Lemon YouTube creator that made a video about NASCAR and kind of the problem with NASCAR. And he compared it to pro wrestling. He goes, pro wrestling is entertainment masking as a sport, and NASCAR is a sport masking as entertainment, you know? And that's where you get like these kind of gimmicky things and stuff like that, you know? I was frustrated as hell, not only as a Tyler Reddick fan, but just as a fan waiting to walk the dog at restart after restart. I go, I got to get the fuck out of here. I can't wait. The storm's about to roll in the valley. I got to get this dog around the block a couple times. So now I'm walking the dog, holding my cell phone, watching 5 fucking green, white checker cautions happen.
It might be my fault now that I think about it. I went back and looked at our text thread, right?
Yeah.
Looking for like what we're talking about during the race to take notes. It was like 7:30. And I texted, I go, boys, I have a feeling, I go, this is going to get drawn out with a bunch of cautions here. Yeah. That was at 7:30. Yeah. And I'm going back. I'm like, oh no, I said that. I'm like, it just had that feeling. It was just going too well. Yeah. It was going too good. Yeah. You know, where I knew it was going to happen. And lo and behold, it can happen.
What time did that race end? Local time, like 8:30?
It was like 9:30. It was like 9:30 when we were talking in the text group around.
Let's see.
That's insane. Like and it started at 4.
With the rain delay too. I tell you what, I didn't mind the rain delay. Got to shampoo the carpets, so
I didn't mind the rain delay either. I ran out, picked up food for us, came back, was able to eat, not miss anything. So it actually worked out a little bit, but I mean the rest of it, like, come on.
Let's see here.
Yeah, I needed that rain delay, get a little exercise in, get the blood flowing a little bit, so I could get through the second half of that long ass race.
I'm trying to go back in our text group to see when it actually ended. It was like 9 o'clock because you go, it's 9 o'clock. So, yeah, it was 9:04. I go, I'm watching as I walk the dog. I couldn't make her wait anymore. This race is never going to end. And then 20 minutes later at 9:17, I go, God damn, my heart is pounding out of my chest. How the hell didn't he run out of gas? You know?
Because he was slow.
Because he was just slow.
9:15 it ended. Okay. That's insane.
He was hypermiling down the highway, sitting in he's going 25 in 5th gear, so barely the engine's barely rotating. I'm in agreement with you guys for the most part. I gave it a C-. I probably would have gave it a B+ if it ended after 1 green white checker at least. But yeah, it was uninteresting in the beginning, kind of like what Matt said. But again, that's the beginning of the race. You're just kind of feeling your cars out and whatnot. I thought it was getting really entertaining in the 3rd stage. Like you said, Eric, we saw some great battles. I was waiting for a 3-wide battle between Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell, and Tyler Reddick. Tyler Reddick had a car too
last year, right? There was more 3-wide battles last year. The booth, according to them.
Yeah.
I couldn't recall it, but there was a real good opportunity a few times in that race to see some really good cars battle 3-wide.
Yeah, so it's just unfortunate the way it all shook out at the end there. I know a lot of people probably are disagreeing with us and they thought it was awesome. They loved the chaos. I know people love chaos. We love chaos here too, just in moderation. It was a little too much chaos for me. Killed my fantasy day too. I was in 1st right before that caution came out. Fucking Ryan Blaney getting in an accident killed me. Fuck, it's so bad, man.
Steph was watching the Olympic trials on Sunday night, and because the race went long, I was like, you know what? You watch it on the TV. I'll watch this on my laptop. It'll be over soon anyway, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm watching it, and she's watching the trials, and you know, a half hour, 45 minutes goes by, and she's like, "Oh, wait, didn't you say the race was going to end? It was like an hour ago you said that." It was just like, I know, it just keeps fucking going. I don't know.
Yeah, it really was the never-ending race. But boys, let's jump into the checkers and wreckers.
40 wide for the lead. 1 lap to go.
It's this week's checkers and wreckers.
Oh, I shouldn't have headbanged so hard. I got a loose headphone here. It might have fallen apart. I felt it start to slide. I'm like, I gotta slow down a little bit.
That could have been bad.
For everyone out of the loop, before the show started, this whole headphone popped off. The plastic part broke. I kind of jammed it back together. I gotta get some super glue out.
It.
I gotta
stop touching it, man. It'll ruin the rest of the show for you.
Yeah, I gotta super glue it. It could pop off at any time. Watch out.
Tuesdays, am I right?
Tuesdays, baby. Since we started with Matt for the race grades, let's start with Eric for the checkers and wreckers. What'd you like? What didn't you like? We did a lot of bitching, but here we go.
I'll tell you what. This is kind of a two-parter, checker and wrecker, in one, I guess. My checkers goes to me in deciding to scrap my A driver.
Oh, yeah.
And going and finally rooting for my A1 driver.
Yeah.
For A1, I took the A2 driver. Over the last couple of weeks, I'm like, you know what? I rooted for that 20 DeWalt car forever. I'm like, EJ this year, like, it obviously is what it is. Like, they're not ever going to be a Toyota 1 program until next year, whatever they figure out. I don't know what it is. So it's like, I have to start doing something to change the way I look at the sport, and it worked wonders.
Just make the race more enjoyable.
Yes. So running up front, you know, it helps absorb the race better. I get more into the race. And just like typical fandom that I have, and you know, Matt's used to it as well, too. When everything is going great, it also comes crashing down. And, you know, Christopher Bell ended up dumb move. Got Arrow loose, trying to make a move after a caution, and he took himself out of the race. So he goes from dominating and probably going to win with the best car of the day and right into the wall. So, yeah, my checkers is me doing the switch and getting that spark back that I needed, but it also sucks because now I get that first feeling of domination to absolute soul crushing, you know. So it's a little bit of a blend of both there for my checkers.
Eric, I see what you're saying too, because if Bowman stuck with the number 88 and the number 88 was still out there and it might have still had some of the sponsorship that Junior was running, I'd honestly probably would have found myself becoming an Alex Bowman fan, you know, just naturally still just rooting for the car itself, you know?
Yeah.
So, but because too many variables changed, yes, it's the same team, same pit crew, things like that. There was no attachment left for me. But if it was still the 88 and you know, whatever sponsorship you pull out, because Junior had a handful of them, I probably would have ended up just being a Bowman fan. But so I totally see where you're coming from.
Yeah, it's so easy for me to root for the 20 DeWalt car. I've done it my entire NASCAR career pretty much.
Yeah.
Is root for the DeWalt 20 car. I rooted for Christopher Bell though. Like, if you're a new listener to the show, White and I used to have intense battles back in the day when Christopher Bell was in Xfinity, because I followed the 20 Xfinity car. And it just, you know, it sucks the way it all worked out when in the Cup with Matt and then what happened to EJ and now Christopher Bell kind of, it took over those two that I first rooted for. Well, I still rooted for him a long time, and I needed to make a change. I felt it in the races watching it, that it was like I was too negative. I'm like, oh damn, he's too slow. I'm bitching to you guys at 7:30 in the morning about Legacy Motor Clubs coming off the hauler speed, and like, you know what I mean? Like, I shouldn't be doing that. It's not good for my health. It's not good for anybody. So it's like I needed a little bit more on Sunday to give me that edge and to get me a little more amped up and excited during the race, and it worked.
We've got now 2 of us who have come out of the closet this year, and it feels great, doesn't it?
But Yeah, it does. It does, because you don't know what it means until your driver goes from running top 10, top 15 and winning races to just absolutely not just qualifying 34th. I don't know. It's like, it's weird. I hang around. Don't get me wrong. He's my number one driver, but it's like, I know the reality of every Sunday
It's
going
deflating,
into it.
you know?
And I just don't want that, you know? And that's why our sport is great. And you could root for multiple drivers out there, because there's 40 some cars when we were watching this out there at a time. And yeah, I'm grateful that I mentally made that switch. So I'm giving myself the checkers for doing that and making the racing a little bit more enjoyable for me. Doing it for my own health.
Well,
going into a Sunday knowing that your team's going to lose, that's called being a Jets fan, brother.
yeah. Or wow. Jaguars, I know.
Rough, man. What should we call it? I'm in favor of you rooting for that 20 car, and you wanna know what? Because of that, I'm going back in the closet. Fuck Christopher Bell. I'm bringing back the rivalry. Fuck D-Wall. Fuck the 20 car. I'm going out. I'm buying all Craftsman tools now. I'm selling all my yellow drills and shit. I'm buying red. Fuck it.
I said it at the end, too. I was all pissed off. You know, I go, fuck Reddick, too, because he didn't move Logano and get around him with more fuel and fucking better tires. How don't you make that, you fucking cocksucker?
For real. Like that, oh, man. I just don't. You want to know what, though? He couldn't touch.
And Reddick knew he could have done something, and he didn't do
knows.
it. He pussied out.
He
and
did.
I think he knows that he fucking pussied out because it's a two-time champion, Joey Logano. He pussied out. He could have done something.
You want to know what, though? You can't do it. You can't touch Joey Logano because he's just fucking itching all the time for any excuse to drive someone like a fucking asshole. Like Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin washed up the track because Kyle Larson got into the back of him or something like that. And instantly on the radio, oh, he's got one coming. He's got one coming. So, yeah, Tyler Reddick is on his bumper. He wrecks him on the last lap. Guess who has one coming every race of the fucking playoffs? You can't touch the fucking guy because he's such a petty bitch. Anyways.
Well, Reddick doesn't need that to take people out in the playoffs.
Well,
poor Slick Willie Tuclon.
I mean, that's poor Slick. I'm sorry.
Rest in peace, poor
that wasn't on purpose, man. That wasn't on purpose. Fucking Roval, man.
Fucking Roval, man.
All right,
I'm gonna get a shirt for Pocono. I'm gonna get a shirt for Pocono that says fucking Roval, man.
We gotta start writing down these shirt ideas because I'm still thinking about like the second or third episode. We had a great trucking shirt, and I can't remember. I gotta go back and listen.
But
fucking
anyway, my
Roval,
record
man.
is my record goes to the drivers. This is not. I said earlier, this is not a rules change problem with the ending of that race. This is a driver problem.
Yeah.
This is there is nothing.
We saw truck race breakout.
Yeah, like NASCAR didn't do anything wrong. There's nothing they could have done differently. It's Noah Gragson and Austin Cindric battling for 28th or 30th with one lap to go. That's your problem right there. Those drivers have to know and have the wherewithal. When you're in the back, you're about to absolutely ruin somebody's good day up front. And they have to know as drivers, well, Noah should know he's done winning. You don't want that to happen to you. No matter what series it's in, Noah was a winner. And it's like when you're leading, I'm sure he bitched all the time. Oh, son of a bitch, of course it was him that spun with 2 to go. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It's happened to you before as a driver. So when you're back there, I know, heat of the moment, whatever, you're back, you don't matter at that point. I said, one green, white checker, try to make a move, gain a few positions. If that first series of green, white checker doesn't work out and you're from 20th fucking back, what are you doing? You go around that one lap and you make it clean. And it's just like, to me, I'm wrecking the drivers. We've seen them do some crazy things. We've seen them go 3 wide, multiple laps around Talladega. We've seen them hang on to race cars. We know that they're capable of making it around for 2 fucking laps at the end of a race. And I put mostly on the drivers, just being bozos.
Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. How about you, Matt? What's your checkers and wreckers?
So my checkers goes to I'll be honest with you. I don't remember. Oh, yeah. It's a holiday week. It's a holiday week, boys. It's a holiday week.
I forgot for the third time already.
And it's 2 weeks before Pocono. So, like, just bear with us. We're almost through it. My records goes to the fact that I think we have a legit rivalry.
Oh yeah,
that's been brewing, and I think that's like finally been acknowledged by one of the involved drivers, and it's at the very top of the sport. It's Larson versus Denny, and it's been going on for about 2 seasons now.
Sounds like a natural rivalry.
Yeah, a handful of incidents last year, a handful of incidents this year. We saw Denny after the second stage in Nashville on Sunday, kind of run into him and actually have to be talked down from it looked like taking him out completely.
He looked real pissed.
He looked really pissed off. So I think they are golf buddies. So there's, but it's more of an on-track rivalry. But listen, one of the greatest rivalries in NASCAR history, Dale Earnhardt versus Jeff Gordon. That was a manufactured rivalry between the two of them to make money. They were buddies off the track. They said they came together and they said, let's fucking sell some merchandise off this rivalry. And there was some stuff that was real about it. That stuff that happens in the heat of competition.
That's my tinfoil hat. I think that this is a little bit more manufactured than it is a natural rivalry. I just think Denny with this podcast, he knows that he's getting views and clicks and how well that's going for him. Have you also noticed Kyle Larson tweeting and being a little bit more out there, showing a little bit more personality on social media and ball busting and kind of being a funny guy? So I wouldn't put it past these two to have known the story that Matt just said about that manufactured rivalry to generate money for the teams to support themselves. They can sell merch, sell this. That's going back to the team. That could help out. So I think it's a little more tinfoil hatty in my world here. It might have a little something to do with I agree with Matt, though. There's some shit that overlaps that is real, but you need a little bit of realness in a rivalry
to keep it going.
Or else it would, yeah.
So, do you want to know one real true rivalry? I think we talked about this last week, that they just got to get better because then it'll be more and more exciting. Is Gregson versus Ty Gibbs? Those two really hate each other.
On and off the track.
If they can both get in top tier, Ty Gibbs is already in top tier equipment, but if Noah can start running better, and they're starting to race up front and they're starting to fucking really take each other out, and not take each other out, but like, you know what I mean? Just like, lean on each other a lot more.
They race hard.
Yeah.
And they brought it up in the broadcast. Every time they race by each other in the broadcast, Matt, you're right. They still bring that up. These guys got bad blood. Oh, these guys have history together. So I think everyone's waiting for that to happen, for that to become something a little bit bigger.
Here's so I listened to Denny's podcast this week, and I completely agree with you guys. Where I'm sure it's a little manufactured, but I think there's some true animosity between them two, because Denny Hamlin said, "I'm just racing Kyle the way he's raced me for years."
That's a lie.
He goes, "I just started."
That's Denny racing him.
He goes, I figured out how to replicate it. But here's the thing. So we talked about this for the last 2 seasons or so, where Kyle Larson kind of secretly dirty in some of his tricks, where he'll push you up the track and into the wall. How many times has he put someone into the wall on corner exit, And now Denny's just kind of giving it back to him too. Now,
he took out Ross Chastain in this race.
Yeah.
Whether he meant to or not, it still happened. Kyle said after the race last year, like, oh, what did he say about Denny?
So he goes, oh, all the buddies know Denny's always right. I think it was after Kansas, was it Kansas or Las Vegas that they got into
matter,
it? One of
that's
those.
What he said. Yeah.
Well, any highlight that they play every time they raced on Sunday by side. Oh, look at the incident in the last couple years between Larson and Denny Hamlin. In every single one of them, it was Denny
being the aggressor.
Being the aggressor. So it didn't look good on Denny's part. That's what I'm saying. Like,
well, Tyler Mond? Tyler Mond is Larson's spotter.
Yeah.
What did he say last week?
He goes, he lets you get pushed around because you let him.
Well,
there was truth behind that.
Well, in part because I think Larson knows, because he's the driver behind the wheel, that he did have to get better at not washing people up the racetrack to gain a position. So I think Larson, he's like, hey, buddy, I know that's what you want me to do, but every time that I do that, Denny knows what I'm going to do. Everyone knows what I'm going to do. I think he tried backing off of using that move because it was becoming prominent and causing him issues. So in a way, you know, this is just a taste of Denny's own medicine, in my opinion. Like, hey, know when you do it as well as the other guy does it. Like, Denny's just the boy who cried wolf here. It's like, oh, it's like when it's happening to him, it's a different story, you know?
I'm pretty sure. I'm trying to find it right now. Oh, it is. I found it. So NASCAR and NBC on 3/2/20. This is before the pandemic broke out. Kyle Larson and Denny Hamlin beating and banging in a grocery store. If you're watching on YouTube, Denny Hamlin takes his grocery cart and shoves it into the back of Kyle Larson's fucking feet.
Which, if that's ever happened to you, and it has happened to me,
it hurts.
hurts.
So even off track in the grocery store, Denny's racing Kyle Larson pretty fucking hard.
He's like a bully. He's like
He
a bully.
is a bully. He is a bully. Poor Kyle Larson getting bullied around by Denny Hamlin.
No, not poor Kyle Larson. I have no sympathy for someone who doesn't stick up for themselves.
That's
no,
true.
And he does the same shit. That's why in a way this rivalry is kind of like meh to me, because both of them are mad at the other for the same fucking thing
that they do to everybody else and each other.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, like, just keep racing each other that way. That's just the way you guys race now.
Yeah.
Like, just say it in the open that this is how we race each other now.
I tell you what, listening to Denny Hamlin's podcast, though, he seems like a racing chameleon where he just adapts whoever's style works, and it works for him. Because he said he adapted Kyle Larson's style in that. So,
on the other hand, could you imagine turning the corner at ShopRite and there's Kyle Larson and Denny Hamlin shopping?
Yeah. Just fucking around with grocery carts.
Clint Boyer and Matt Kenseth were on the Jazzies going through.
Yeah.
How about your records, Matt? What's your records for the weekend?
My records, so we didn't talk about it during the truck series, but in the Craftsman truck series, NASCAR held Lane Riggs 2 laps for reckless driving.
Yeah.
And it was honestly probably the softest penalty that I've ever seen. Lane put the bumper, if you didn't see it, Lane put the bumper to the back of Stephen Parsons.
Stephen Parsons. Stephen. Yeah.
Just how about you call yourself Stephen like a normal human being?
Nah, his parents named him Stephen.
He put what's up?
Nah, his parents named him Stephen.
Well, Phil Parsons a weirdo too. Anyway, Lane put the bumper to the back of Stephen Parsons, and that was
Stevie.
it. Like nothing else, nothing egregious, nothing at all. And NASCAR needs to kind of just get out of their way. And I feel like by calling ticky-tacky bullshit penalties like that in some instances, but not calling them in others, is just like it's the inconsistency again. Talking about it.
So I heard Todd Gordon was talking about it with Dave Moody today, and it was in the transition between their shows. And it was right when the Carson Hocevar penalty news broke. And so they brought up the Lane Riggs on track penalty, and they said it's because he has a history of doing these things. So as he keeps doing things and getting penalized, they're going to keep increasing the penalty for him, and that's why he got penalized 2
laps. It's like Tracy down in the SRX, dude. Like,
kind of, yeah.
Point, you're not allowed to race anymore. You know?
It sound the way they alluded to. Riggs has had a couple meetings with NASCAR closed door, and he's not doing what they're telling him to.
Dude, it's like he's taking on the persona of Riggs from Lethal Weapon.
Yeah.
No, Riggs.
I'm gonna kill you guys. I never saw Lethal Weapon. I just know I'm too old for this shit, and that's it. And I'm pretty sure he was like 34 when they filmed it, so I'm too old for this shit, man. I'm sorry.
But you did see the It's Always Sunny episode where they remake Lethal Weapon.
I think I did see that one. You know, there's a handful of Always Sunny episodes where I see all the time.
To be the character.
Yeah. Let's see. My checkers and wreckers, real quick. The fans of Nashville for showing up in a scorcher. It was like 90-some degrees. It was a sellout, and even after the rain delay, a whole ton of them came back to the track. So got to give congratulations to them.
That's our breed of people, baby. Those people down in Nashville go see a NASCAR race. They knew what they were doing. They were going to stick it out, drink some cold beers, and they were going to weather that hot storm, whatever it was. Those fans, they deserved a better finish than what they got. But live, it was probably wild.
We've been through 100-degree weather. We've been through torrential downpours. We've seen it all, the three of us. So, like, we can appreciate when fans stick out and you know, listen, money ain't growing on trees, and not that tickets are crazy expensive compared to other sports, but it's your time, it's your money, it's your energy, it's the excitement of building up. You know, look at how excited we are for Pocono in 2 weeks. If that shit got washed out, we'd be devastated. So it's just when you invest yourself into these things, see it through to the end, and you're gonna see. I mean, they got to see quote unquote entertainment, maybe not the best ending of a race, but they still got to see the ending of a race. So that's awesome. I love seeing that shit.
And you want to being in the stands for that ending? It probably was pretty badass watching all those cautions and stuff. Because how exciting is it when you're in the stands and you see a caution? You're like, oh, you're looking all around.
Oh yeah, being alive, 30-pack in.
Yeah,
get hands down. You're loving that.
And you want to what? I have to give them an extra checkers because they don't allow coolers in there. So those guys, they beat the heat the hard way. I know they're allowed to bring water in, but no cold beers. They had to buy them. So really shelling out the money to keep yourself hydrated in the heat. And then wreckers, I have to give it to NASCAR for letting Kyle Busch back in line on his original spot.
That was bullshit.
Yeah. So even though he was involved in the wreck, but he wasn't, you know, he never touched any of the cars, but he still hit the wall. He lost positions there. I was trying to slow down the video and watch to see if I could see like a yellow light come out, the time of caution. But he lost a lot of positions before it switched on the TV broadcast. I know that's way slower than the actual booth. I just thought it was weird. NASCAR made a statement today saying that he maintained speed. He just slowed down for the wreck happening in front of him. And because he slowed down, but he still kept going, he wasn't involved in the wreck. They gave him the position back.
You lose those positions. Once you slow and you let those guys by you, you're done.
Yeah.
But then the booth brought up the timing loops.
Yeah, and that was the last timing loop.
Loops didn't matter because by the time he
I hate those timing loops.
And then he sped back up.
Yeah,
I hate those timing loops.
So do I. I don't like it. I don't like it being an excuse at Daytona, all that stuff. Yeah.
Right. Pause it and who was where.
Yeah. Because sometimes it's who is where, or sometimes it's the timing loop. I feel like it all depends on who the race director is that day. I don't know.
I just feel like NASCAR put that in there so that they could, in a situation, they could just pull something out and have either option to choose from.
Probably. Yeah. Keep it vague so you never lose. I don't know. I just didn't like it. I thought it was shitty. And then like 2 cautions later, he ran out of gas and wrecked the field. So I don't know. Definitely didn't feel that one. Other than that, let's see. Man, it's so hard to talk about this race because the guys that did well all finished poorly. So I'm just going to highlight some of the leaders that led multiple laps. Christopher Bell, he finished 36. He led 6 times for 131 laps. Absolute dominant performance. Denny Hamlin was coming for him, though. Michael McDowell, he led once for 31. That was a fuel strategy deal. He was trying something weird. I didn't like that one.
Of course it was.
Right.
Again, it was stage 1. He's holding out as long as possible. He probably could have won the stage, knowing how many miles you get out of these tanks these days. Let's see, Ross Chastain, he led once for 45 laps. Of course, he got passed by Denny, but he ended up finishing 33rd. What's that?
It was good seeing Ross up front.
It was.
He's one of those personalities that it's super polarizing. So when he's doing good, I think the sport thrives off that as well.
I think so too. He's
either hate him or love him, and there's really no in between with him. And
talk about natural rivalries with guys too. When he's running up front, all sorts of stuff is happening. I picked him to win last week too. I thought that was looking great right around that time, and apparently it wasn't.
Fuck Ross Chastain, dude. He ruined watermelon for me, that cocksucker. I don't want to look at a watermelon anymore. It smashes them all over the fucking ground. You couldn't have smashed a cantaloupe. Tastes like fucking perfume.
As a matter of fact, we're going to do a lap through the infield. Well, I'm sure we're going to do several laps through the infield at Pocono, but if we see a fucking watermelon, we're smashing it.
Yeah.
Hide your watermelons.
Hide all your watermelons, unless they have booze in them, then give us some. Let's see. Some guys that I think did really well, they gained stage points in both stages, just didn't have the finish. 24th, Martin Truex Jr., and 25th, Brad Keselowski. They were top 10 cars all day long. They didn't deserve the finish they got. Same with Ty Gibbs. I'll even give him that. He ran really well in the first stage, gaining stage points. He finished 23rd. He led once for 2 laps.
Dude, tinfoil fucking hat. What happened?
Is this a record for one show?
Might be. I like it.
Dude, what happened? Josh Berry announces he's going to the 21, and they just give him the shittiest car possible.
Oh, right.
He felt like a rock. What happened to him?
Dude, I don't know.
I had so high hopes in my fantasy. I had him. I'm like, dude, he could win this. Like, he was on a heater of a run.
Yeah.
Like the last couple of weeks, and it's like this is right up his alley. And then what? They found out he told his team that he's going to the 21, and they pull everything out of his car and change his whole setup for what?
It's
that
a Ford car.
He felt like a rock and couldn't do anything.
I feel like he was sitting like 18th the whole time. Yeah. Well, he was sitting. I feel like he was sitting like 18th, 19th. Because again, I put him in the fantasy team, thinking like, oh, he outside pole ran really well here last year. He's running well.
You know, he's knocking on the door.
Yeah. Oh, you want to know what fucked me, dude? I didn't. You want to know what? Because they just said, oh, he ran really well here last year. In my little spreadsheet, the speed score, I put in last year's race results. That was Kevin Harvick that ran well. Got tricked on that one. Damn it.
Wait, he's done. The whole rest of the show, he's done now.
I can't believe that.
Those headphones are waiting to pop.
Anyways, Chase Elliott and William Byron had decent middle races too. Both those guys gained stage points at some point. Denny Hamlin led 3 times for 70 laps. He finished 12th. Noah Gragson, he finished 10th in stage 2. He finished 10th, so he had a decent car out of those guys. Kyle Larson, 8th. Ryan Blaney in 6th. He led 2 times for 26 laps. He gained stage points in the second stage too, so he's all right. And let's see, I can't even look at you guys. Chris Buescher, he was a solid top 10 car all day long. He got stage points in both stages, finished 5th.
You know what? Fuck Ryan Preece, dude.
For real.
Ryan fucking Preece, he was racing everybody
like an
so
asshole.
Hard, dude. Like
every week, too.
Like,
dude.
What the hell are you doing, Ryan Preece?
Anyways, he finished 4th in front of Chris Buescher. Tyler Reddick finished 3rd. He led 5 times for 16 laps. Zane Smith finished 2nd. That's all we have to say about that. And Joey Logano won the race. That's your fucking breakdown. Here on the Bum Run Podcast, though, everyone loves talking about the winner, Joey Logano, on a Monday. But we also like to talk about the guy who came in last place. That was one Chad Fincham. He dropped out on lap 132 from electrical issues.
Fincham, I barely know him.
Real heartbreaker for the Chad Fincham fan out there. But fellas, Nashville's in the rear view.
Oh my God. I love Tuesday shows, boys. This is fucking crazy. All right? Am I right, Tuesday shows, boys?
I gotta get out of here.
Oh.
I'm sweating so bad. I am sweating so bad right now.
Yeah. This leather chair is a bad idea in the summertime, too. I got the AC pumping behind me. It's not helping.
All right, wait. Oh, sorry about that. Whew.
That's all right.
This is like the end of the race.
Everyone's just like, end the podcast.
Can I tell
Tell
you?
me who you're going to pick, and I want to end.
Can I tell you to fuck John Hunter Neimechek in that legacy car? I got into it with Dave Moody on Twitter this past week. Some caller was saying how bad he is. Again, causing another caution in the overtime. And Moody's like, he's only had 3 accidents. Bullshit. I went back. I counted every time he was in a caution. I got at least 8 of the last 19 races. John Hunter Neimechek needs to get the fuck out.
He's allergic to the Cup Series. He goes down to Xfinity, dominates.
Yeah.
He goes to the trucks, dominates. Up to Cup, he's not even the same person.
You know what? You know who needs to go back to that 42 car? He's a free agent right now. We don't know who he's going to. There was rumor.
Pablo Montoya.
There was rumors he was going to go to RCR, but I don't know if they're getting a charter now. Noah Gregson should go back to the Legacy 42. Get a second crack at that.
I disagree.
No way.
That did not work out for him.
Yeah, but he's still fucking better than John Hunter Neimechek. Anyways, we're putting Nashville in the rear view. Music City's behind us. We're looking forward to Chicago. It's a street course. Second year in a row. Hopefully the weather cooperates for us this year. Xfinity hits the road Saturday, 3:30 on NBC for the Loop 110. And then Cup hitting the streets of Chicago Sunday, 4:30 on NBC for the Grant Park 165. They shortened both races a little bit this year. Let's see, fellas, our picks from last week. Ross Chastain got me a whopping 4 points. He was in second before that last caution. Kyle Larson got Matt 44 points, and Eric, you picked Chase Elliott. He got you 24. So I picked first, Eric picked second, and Matt, you picked last for the Chicago Street Course. A lot of people thinking SVG. SVG's running that colleague car this year. It's not a Trackhouse car, so we'll see how that one does. I don't know if I want to pick him though. I feel like weather played into that a little bit. But man,
you could put him on a fucking tricycle, and I think he's gonna win the race.
Yeah, you want to what? He won the last 2 road courses in the Xfinity Series. The Cup car is way closer to what he's used to over in Australia. I hope for our viewership. He wins. I gotta pick SVG. I'm going with him.
Dude, I was gonna pick him if you did.
I talked to him.
I know you did.
Sorry.
I wasn't gonna pick. I was gonna go with someone else. I didn't think you would go back to back, but yeah, no, I gotta go with SVG. I have no one else in mind, to be honest with you. So
what number is he running this weekend?
I think he's in the 16 or 15.
Okay.
Yeah, that or the yeah, no, because the 31's full time with it's gotta be the 16. Anyways,
this is a gut instinct this week for me. It's somebody that hasn't really been talked about much since the beginning of the year. Seems to run well at road courses. Has speed in his car, we know it. Needs something to turn on his momentum before the playoffs start to make his run at a championship. I'm going with Slick Willie 2 Clocks in the 24.
Yeah, you want to know what? I was just thinking about him because I was looking. I'm like, man, guys with multiple wins. William Byron, they came real fucking early, and he's been quiet ever since. But he is a good road course racer too. Won Watkins Glen last year, so.
And he needs a spark. I think sometimes when guys on big teams need sparks, like Bell and him, they usually figure out how to make it happen.
Yeah. How about you, Matt? Who are you picking?
I am taking a dude who ran really, really well here last year. I'm taking a guy who we've been saying is knocking on that door. I think Ty Gibbs gets it done. I think he finally breaks through and he adds his name into the playoff list this year.
I can see it. He's been struggling a little bit as of late, but maybe a good weekend in Chicago.
He was my number 3, Matt.
Yeah.
He was my number 3. SVG, Slick Willie, and then it was going to be Ty.
Yeah, I didn't have either of those guys on my radar too. I would have picked Chris Buescher, which you never know. keep that in mind. Anyways, we are 19 races into the 2024 season. We have 11 different winners. I meant to add the playoff cutoff line right now, but we'll get into that next week. William Byron, Daniel Suarez, Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, Tyler Reddick, Brad Keselowski, Austin Cindric, Ryan Blaney, and Joey Logano locked themselves into the playoffs. In fact, the last 3 winners to lock themselves into the playoffs, non-repeat winners, has been Team Penske. So Ford's finding something. Maybe Chris Buescher will end up in victory lane in Chicago. We will see this Sunday, 4:30 on NBC for the Grant Park 165. We'll break it on down for you next Tuesday night. Could it be? Will it be? Will it be SVG for year 2 in a row? Or will Ty Gibbs finally get his first win in the Cup Series? We'll find out this Sunday, 4:30 on NBC. Break it down for you next Tuesday night. For Matt the Statman Reilly, for Eric Daytona Ron, I'm Michael D. White saying have a good night.
The bump and run. There it is.